Get off your feet and on the edge of your seat. News and Views is about to begin now. As always, I'd like to welcome you right here to News and Views. I am your host, Charlie Hale. Joining me, my three counterparts, Mr. Brian Ireland. When we get there, where is he at? Mr. Brian Ireland.
All right, you can skip me.
There he is,
are.
Mr. Kamal Dockett. Oh, my goodness. And Pastor Mark Lamb. All right, so Kamal looks like he's in slow motion, and Mark looks normal. So, what is that? What is this new?
It's my black
Martial
belt,
arts.
my Chuck Norris look.
Chuck Norris?
Is he-
It's
it's
more like
Different
Black
hand in
Panther.
hand.
Is he okay? I mean,
He's
Guess
trying
he's
to
doing
attack
different
me.
combat
Mark's
sports.
been doing this to me
Mark's doing
for
he's on a
4
speed
weeks.
bag.
So now I'm doing this.
He's
I'm
doing a different
I'm doing
combat
this
sport.
To him.
what are we going to do?
What we're doing.
Nothing.
Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive and be safe.
Staying alive. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. Folks, right, it's News and Views, P.O. Box 924, St. Louis, Missouri, 63188. Once again, that's News and Views, P.O. Box 924, St. Louis, Missouri, 63188. We want to hear from you. What's on your hearts and minds? I'd like to share that information right here on News and Views. You can also reach out to us by email, newsandviews@knlc.tv. Also through our social media sites, right there, Twitter and Facebook on the screen. Please write that down. Once again, we want to hear from you and share those views and opinions right here on News and Views. Who's going to go first today?
Well, I guess I will. Shortly before
right.
we came in, I noticed something that had just hit the news. So I'm not totally well versed in the details of it, but
Fake news. Here we go.
it's not fake news. It is not fake news, but
Cover
it's
Brian Ireland's mouth.
But we're kind of winging it. And the story that I noticed is from Texas. And it involves a wrestling tournament. And in this tournament, the champion, the person who won the wrestling tournament, 110 pounds, is transitioning from a girl to a boy. So the person who won against girls is transitioning from a girl to a boy. And this has, from what I've quickly been able to gather from the story, has created this huge uproar because people are wondering, is that playing on a level, are we on a level playing field when we allow people to compete in, especially combat sports, when either they have transitioned to another gender or they're in the process of doing it? Because it's kind of, who do they compete against? They compete against the same gender that they were born as, or should they compete against what they're transitioning or have transitioned to? So I guess first I'll start with this particular case. Charlie, what do you think? This is somebody who, and Kamal knows the story just as well, if not better than me. This is somebody who was born a girl,
Right.
and is transitioning to become a male.
Already, the transition has already happened.
But the athletic department or the athletic board allowed him now to compete still
But the
against
school
girls.
It was a
system-
boy,
It was a
girl.
born as a
Born a
girl.
girl.
Born as a girl.
Now a man, a boy,
Boy.
and fighting or wrestling in the
In
boys.
the
In
girls.
the girls. What she was born
Because the school
as.
system has to still recognize the individual as a female.
But why? Okay, let me go to this again. He was
confused.
was a girl.
Born as a female.
Born as a
Became a boy,
female.
but now a
and
male,
transitioned to
but
a
wrestling
boy.
in the females.
Fighting
Yes.
How does it go?
No.
What you mean,
What?
how does it go?
I mean-
because the school district still has to recognize them as a female.
Then why can that person walk in the opposite bathroom if they recognize them as a female?
Well, I mean,
Then that person should be able to go into the female's bathroom and only the female's bathroom.
Well, let's stay on.
Well, no, I'm just
the
making a
sports
point. That's
first.
fine.
well, I mean,
We'll
it's still
stay on-
illegal.
I'm just
The
making a point.
transgender bathroom thing, it's still illegal.
Wait, when did life get so complex? I mean,
Well,
I
she
mean,
well, I
was
guess
wrestling against girls or boys.
Well, she's a girl,
Just
right?
that. Born
Not-
as a female.
Born
yes.
as she needs to be wrestling against females.
Okay, but they have now been taking hormones and are now stronger because they were going through this transition. They're full of steroids
So
and
now,
hormones.
so now it's okay
Isn't that
to
an
do all
unfair
that,
advantage?
and they're fighting males who can't take this stuff because it's illegal, right?
Well, they're fighting females. They would be fighting females but the argument.
No, they're fighting male. Well, it's a female,
No,
but
well, it's
they're
a
taking
female.
hormones.
It's
It's now male.
right. So
Right.
now
If you're
that
taking
in-
if you're taking these products that make you more of a man, so to speak,
Right.
the steroids was one of them.
right.
Why can't the normal male that she's fighting?
They're
take
not going to
steroids
fight.
too?
She's not going to be fighting males. She's fighting
That's what you
females.
just said, wasn't it?
No,
No,
it's a
females.
female that's transitioning to a male that's fighting women.
Oh,
other
well, no
young
way,
ladies.
no way, either way. I think no way.
Right,
I
and
don't
then the
agree
other
at all.
question comes up:
No,
what
I
about the
don't agree at all.
opposite side of a boy transitioning into a female? Should that individual be allowed to wrestle
No
against
way.
other
I
boys?
say no, and that is also a case that has happened, and that wasn't wrestling; it was MMA, and it was professional. There was somebody who was born a man, transitioned to a woman, and was beating up and easily defeating the female fighters that she was going against, and everybody was like, "Well, yeah, technically you've gone through the operation, you've gone through the transition, but you were born, your bone structure, your hormones, everything is still a male." So you still have an inherent advantage over.
Yeah,
you're competing against people who were females, have always been females.
I think that if you're saying that you're going to transition, you need to fight who you're transitioning into. So the whole thing is that and I don't agree with the whole transgender thing, period. But what I'm saying is that this young lady who now is a boy should be fighting boys.
Yes,
Wow.
I agree with that, but I don't agree if the transition is from a boy to a girl that you should fight girls.
Why not? You got it. You
Because
can't.
like
you
I
can't
just
have.
said, you're-
you can't
you're
have rules
stronger.
for one
You're
side.
naturally stronger.
You can't have rules for one side and then have another set of rules for the other side.
Because somebody who was born a girl, if they're transitioning to a boy, they're trying to become a boy. I don't see them having a more of an advantage over somebody who's been a man their whole
But that's
life.
your choice. You made that decision.
Strength is different.
So if you want to
Strength is
be, if you
different.
want to be an athlete and be a transgender athlete, then you have to respectively.
Then they need to have a transgender league.
But wouldn't that
And
be?
a heterosexual
but
league.
wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be
That would only be
discrimination?
fair. No, it'd be fair.
No, I don't think it would be fair.
you
Because
got-
you don't
if you
even
got-
have a
if you
high
got a
level.
girl who
You
used to
don't
be a
even have a
girl-
high level of transgenders like that to even have a
If you
league.
have a girl, in reality, she's a girl, but then she tries to be a boy. That boy she's fighting is going to have an advantage over her regardless. I don't care. Because
That's why I think
boys
it's okay
are
for it to-
naturally stronger.
That's
than
why I
girls.
think it going that way, it's okay. I don't think it's okay for a boy to go to a girl and fight girls.
But you made that choice. So at that point,
Yeah, you made the
need
choice,
to be treated.
but the
you need
opponents
to
are
be,
at
if you want to be
disadvantage.
treated like
I
a
agree with
boy
that. I think
or a
they're at
girl
disadvantage.
that you're transitioning into, then you need to accept that or
Well,
not
they will
wrestle
accept
at all.
it. No, but
Not
I think
wrestle-
they will. If it's a boy transitioning to a girl, of course they'll accept it
Because
because
in this case,
they're beating up girls now.
In this case,
So that's
this
okay.
young
It's not a
lady who's
punishment.
now a boy is going to keep
Right.
on winning state championships until they graduate.
I think that's crazy.
Right. I
So,
disagree
but
with
on the other hand, if you're a boy that's transitioning into a woman, you know,
You should
and
be
then you
allowed.
still have to fight boys.
Right. Either
Then
still
that's
fight
the
boys or
choice
you can't
that you
do
take.
it.
To me, you can't take the good and the bad and say, well, it's okay for these women, these young ladies, to transition into boys and then to sweep the board. And then on the other
Right,
hand,
I don't think it is.
right. But what I'm saying is that what if it was the other way around and you're losing? Now it's not okay.
So if it's a boy transitioning
To a girl and you're losing state championships because of this, your team is suffering. Now, it's not okay for that.
Let's hear from the pastor on the panel.
Right, but
Yes.
the whole thing is that we base this all on strength, right? What about the ability of the person to outmaneuver someone else?
Right.
Or their
And that's
skill
what
set,
wrestling is
right?
about.
I mean, if you transgender or transition from a boy to a girl and you win all this competition and stuff, is it just strength alone?
Well, it's a big part of it. in
I'm sure it's a big
combat
part of it,
sports.
Some
Should
of
we-
it is,
should we
but,
give some-
but 110 is not. You're not gonna have too much strength in 110.
Well, I think we should give some credit to the person who won these championships, right? Not only for the ability of their possibly strength, but also their intelligence and skill in wrestling.
Yeah, but I think there is an advantage because you're taking medication and hormone and muscle strengthening that have that
Testosterone
advantage.
injections.
Exactly.
Right, you do
So,
have an
so,
advantage.
so it's an unfair advantage.
Because the
It
guy,
is an
the, guy,
unfair.
the male
It's an
can't do that.
unfair advantage
No.
if it's a young girl transitioning into a man, but then it becomes at a disadvantage if it's the opposite because you're taking medication to become more feminine like. So now you're at a disadvantage.
Well,
so
I would have to agree with Kamal. There can't be a double standard.
it can't
You got-
be.
you
It
gotta
has
have-
to
you
be
gotta have one
universal,
standard.
or just don't let them wrestle at all.
That. There you go. That's where I'm at with
Well,
it.
we're talking about wrestling right now. It'd be other sports soon, too.
Well, it is, like I said,
It's
it's
already
MMA.
on sports. I mean,
It is
just
an
have a
MMA.
transgender league. We'll be back. Welcome back. You just tuned in. You're watching News and Views. I'm your host, Charlie Hale. We just heard from Brian Ireland. This time we'll turn it over to Mr. Kamal Dockett.
Yes, so it's been hot in the news here in the state of Missouri. We know now that Greitens has not only admitted to having an extramarital affair, but now there's enough evidence on the table for him that he has now been indicted. And basically what the indictment is an invasion of privacy. And this made me go back and look at the fact that in 1994, there was a precedent set where there was a young man in Buffalo, Missouri, who was recording women undressing in his store. You know, he had some type of boutique. And then also Chuck Berry, if people remember the case with Chuck Berry in Wentzville, where they were recording women undressing in their dressing room. It was not illegal. There was literally no laws
Because you're in a public place.
Right. There was no laws filming women undressing or men or women undressing.
Should that be illegal?
In your
Or
so
should they change the law?
as a result of that, in 1994, Missouri changed the law, stating that you cannot unknowingly film somebody that does not know in a public area. That is now a misdemeanor. If you take that footage and put it onto your computer, it now becomes a felony. That's what they're getting Greitens with is an invasion of privacy, and then this could open up the door for the blackmail.
It's a lot harder to record people back in the day. It's a lot easier now. You get your phone, just flip it out, and you
But
got
if you're
it.
in a public
back then, you had these
bathroom-
big, huge VHS recorders on your
If
shoulder.
you're in a public bathroom, I mean, you know that you're not at home.
Right, but the whole
So
thing
why
is
is
that
that a
they're
crime?
saying that you wouldn't expect to be recorded. If
But
I'm
if
at
you are,
the
you
I'm
can't
at
be
the
recording
Esquire
people when
Theater
they're naked.
or I'm at
They're
the
not in their
Macy's
house.
clothing store,
Right.
and somebody's
It's invasion of
recording
privacy.
me, that is
You're not
illegal.
at your home.
You're still
Okay,
it's invasion of
whatever.
privacy.
I mean, it's not even an argument. Nobody expects to be at Macy's or Foot
get
Locker
recorded.
trying on sweatpants, and somebody sitting there recording you.
Then why wasn't it illegal? Because they thought
It just was one of those
nobody,
loopholes.
no crazy person.
Right,
was doing
they
it.
would think nobody
Now
would
you got
do
your
that.
phones,
Right.
and now you can just set it up underneath the bench or
Right.
something.
So,
See,
but
like,
anyway,
it's a
what
victim
I kind of wanted to touch about is the actual now as a result
what
of
harm
this,
does it do?
they're saying that they're going to start the procedures of impeaching the governor Greitens because they feel like they feel like there's too much going on and they don't feel like he can proceed as the governor. So what I wanted to quickly throw in there is what does it mean to impeach? Basically what's going to happen is that right now the House Speaker of Missouri, Todd Richardson, has put a committee together of 7 people that's going to be headed by Representative Jay Bowens of Jefferson City. If that committee of 7 people decides that we should proceed with the impeachment, it goes to the House of Reps. Currently, right now, we have 163 state reps, and if that state rep has a majority vote that we should impeach the governor, then it goes to the Senate. The Senate will elect 7 judges, 7 Missouri state judges. If 5 of those judges say that he should be impeached, then governor is out.
Well, hopefully he
And
won't
Mark
be, 'cause I don't
Parsons-
even see what the crime is
Mike
he committed.
Parsons, he videotaped a woman while she was
They were
nude.
They were already in
she
a
was what?
relationship.
It doesn't
They
matter.
were having an
Videotaped her
affair.
He videotaped her.
In
The
their
allegation
bedroom.
is that after they had sex,
Consensually.
he videotaped her.
They were
now
in
the
a
consensual
relationship.
sex was not a crime. You cannot videotape if you have sex with somebody and then you say, "Oh, babe, let me." If they say no, I don't want to be
She didn't say
videotaped.
no.
She said that she said that's how she
She didn't know.
Right, and that's even more illegal. Right, duh.
But she didn't
That's-
know.
Right.
Why would you, so she's going to be intimate with them, and that's okay. But her taking some pictures is she's going to have a problem with.
Right,
This is
because most
backwards.
people don't expect somebody.
If she's
if
consenting
you're in
to
a
sex-
sexual relationship with somebody, and then you later find out they've been taping
It's supposed to
this,
be private. I mean, in your own home, private, or
She's
wherever you're at,
consenting to
hotel. Supposed
intimate.
right? But
relations.
not
in
to
a
be
private- in a
videotaped.
private setting.
Not to be videotaped.
Not for all of her junk to be plastered all over public.
And
Well,
then-
he didn't plaster it.
Yeah, he
It could've
did.
been.
He put it on his
Could've
computer.
been.
He could have been, but he was, of course, he was running for governor.
Put it on the
And
computer is just as bad.
Well, that's what made it a felony case. So what they're
Mark, what do
saying
you
is
think?
that they believe they have proof of a transmission of pictures that day or that time period. So the blackmail is not a case right now, but the invasion of privacy is.
Okay, so my question is this. Through all this scandal and everything, we need to remember something. And I'm asking my Christian brothers and sisters who are watching this program, and the panel too, to pray for the governor.
Right.
I don't think anybody, I think, what I read and everything is so hateful against him. And I'm saying what he did was a sin. I believe he's repented of that sin, and I think he's open for forgiveness. And so I think a message that we need to give as Christians is, yes, you sinned, you failed, you repented of it, right? And now let's redeem you and restore you.
Yeah, but at the
I
same
agree.
time,
I agree.
but at the same
This
time,
man
many of
should
you
not
saying
be a
that.
teacher taking some
But yeah, but
pictures.
at the same time, he's going to be going to trial. He's going to be going to court. And
Because
this is
they're
the
making a
same
big
man.
thing out
This
of
is the
nothing.
same individual who said that I'm coming to clean up Missouri. And
Well,
now
if
we
they give
find
him a
out he got
chance-
skeleton in his closet.
But this happened before, before he became governor.
It doesn't matter.
Right? Hold on. It happened before he became governor, and I think he probably should have been open about it, right? But what would you have done?
As far
If
as
you,
what?
if you were running for governor and you knew you had a good chance of running it, and you had this blotch, more than a blotch,
Just a slip
the
up.
stain.
I agree with
There's
Mark.
more than a slip up. This man should have. He shouldn't have ran on no ticket that I'm cleaning up the Missouri when he got skeletons in his closet.
Everybody's got skeletons.
Everybody-
Right, and he should have let it been known. The whole thing is this: he's about to go into a case where he has to be, going in and out of trial, perhaps even a trial, and it's going to be taxpayers' money. So the whole thing is that many people are saying, and I'm not 100% agreeing that they should impeach him right now. I think there should be some time that they're waiting. But at the same time, this is going to take a lot of time, and it's going to be a lot of things coming out.
So the woman
And
got
can he
offended?
be? Can he
So
be?
did the woman get really offended by this?
Probably
Well, it was
not.
her husband. Her ex-husband was the one that broke the story.
Right, 'cause he was
didn't-
heartbroken.
She never even broke the story.
But are we actually going to hold? Are we actually
He's
going to
heartbroken.
hold what he did in campaigning for the governor as actual truth? I mean,
Yeah,
politicians
but
are
what I'm saying
notorious
is that
for
he
lying.
perhaps committed a crime.
But it
He
shouldn't
perhaps
be a
did,
crime.
but you can't take his campaign.
You said what?
and-
It shouldn't be a crime.
But
And
The
Mark's right.
videotape somebody tied
That's
up
a crime.
It's
and
just
transmit it
pictures.
to your computer
He
and
didn't
say
share
that
it.
if you say anything about this,
That's
I'm
a
a
crime.
black
No, that
man.
hasn't been proven. That would be wrong
What
if
if
he
they,
did
what if
that.
they know they're being videotaped? Is that a different story?
No, yeah, right. It's not a
Okay.
crime.
Even if they didn't
Because
know.
you gave
how-
consent.
but how-
camera is between
what they're
him and
saying
the
is that
camera.
she's saying, and what the husband is saying is that she did not agree to be
She doesn't
videotaped.
have to agree. It's between
She does have to
Bryden's and
agree.
the camera. That's
Stop
the,
it.
But
And
he-
you're supposed to be, and
but
you're
he-
a junior
but-
lawyer saying this
but he
stuff?
did- but he
Man,
did-
you need
he
to,
did-
they need to throw the boy at
He
you.
didn't have
He's
sex
being
with the
defense,
camera.
the defense attorney.
The camera did
Because
not
I'm
give.
saying,
The
how
camera
is she
didn't
harmed
say it
by
was
having her picture
consensual,
taken?
Brian. The
Be-
camera
because,
didn't say you could have it.
because if you're in a sexual relationship with the individual,
Consensual.
they have to give consent to be videotaped.
And the camera-
Bottom line,
I'm
if
saying
they
that
don't
she
give
didn't have
consent,
to,
One at a
though.
time.
I
And the camera does not give consent.
No, I understand.
You can't
I
ask the
understand
camera, "Hey, can I
that
videotape
it's
you
against
nude?"
the law, but I'm saying it shouldn't be against the law because what harm is it? They've already consensually been intimate together. She's
Right.
agreed to be with
but
him.
they don't want that broadcast to the world.
But he didn't. He just took some
It
private
doesn't matter.
pictures
It's
for him and his
the
camera.
ability or the capacity once you videotape something for it to get out.
Well,
Because if two people have sex in a room and it's not
between them
videotaped,
two.
right, and it goes no further,
Right, and
other
then-
than word by mouth. If I videotape that
You
or I
can.
videotape, then the capacity goes on and on
If you
for
don't
that to
use the
get out.
capacity, is what I'm
But
saying.
we don't know. He could still have this tape somewhere.
And he has the right to. She agreed
He
to
doesn't
have
have the
sex
right to
with
do
them.
that.
If she agreed to have
She didn't
sex
have a
with
right
them,
to.
She didn't
She
know.
didn't
She didn't
she
know
didn't
she
have
had
a right to
video
have the
recorded.
camera on.
Yeah,
She
your
didn't know she had
argument
video
is weak.
recorded.
Your
I
argument is
disagree.
weak.
I think that if you are in a consensual relationship, what you do is then okay because that person has agreed to be with
So
you.
you actually really believe that if somebody videotapes you unknowingly, that's
Somebody who
okay.
I've agreed to be with.
What if somebody?
Yes, they
what
can
if somebody?
videotape
Well, okay,
you.
what if your significant other videotapes you going to the bathroom and puts it all over Facebook?
That's their right to. No, because that's transmitting it. That's different.
They
Well,
transmission is
transmitted to the
simply
computer.
going from one to computer.
By the law, I'm saying that's true. But what Charlie's saying is I wouldn't agree with that because that's that's bringing
Man, you
intimacy
flip-floppy.
from. No,
You
it's not.
flip-floppy with the
No,
gender
I'm saying you
existence,
keep it to
and you
yourself.
flip-floppy.
No, I'm saying you keep it to yourself. It shouldn't be illegal. If you transmit it to the world, yes, without their permission, yes, I agree with you. That should be. But if I just keep it to myself, if Chuck Berry kept the bathroom pictures to
So
himself,
that's okay. So it's okay
Yes.
for all these people that got thousands of kiddie porns and they keeping it to
No,
themselves.
because that's illegal. That's the difference.
No, this
This
is
is
we got to take a
consensual.
break. We
This
got to take a
is
break.
illegal.
We'll be back.
This is sexual.
No.
For the outcast all alone, for the man without a home, for that desperate heart that gives their soul away in the hope they'll be held close, and for the sad neglected wife, for the man life has passed by, for that rejected man who's dying all alone, for the way he lived his life.
You are homeless.
Right now I am.
Okay. You're using the walking cane?
Yeah,
Okay.
I used this here. And
Okay.
I got to walk. Oh, I had 2 strokes.
Tell me, Larry, what was your worst day living on the streets?
She living on the streets is every day. That's your worst day.
Every day is a pain. Every day,
It's a pain.
right? And it's depressing, isn't it?
Depressing, very depressing, but you got to stay strong.
There is hope. There is hope.
Welcome back. Just tuning in. We have a heated debate going on here on News and Views. Neither one of them's won yet. What do you think about it? You need to write us. P.O. Box 924, St. Louis, Missouri, 63188. We want to hear from you. This time I turn over to Pastor Mark Glenn.
Well, we want to talk about relationships today. A lot of people are involved in relationships. I think more people are involved in relationships than actually getting married. But relationships can be very, very difficult, especially in this Me Too age. There's a song by the Eurythmics that talks about sweet dreams are made of this. And I think it's important that we reflect upon this before we actually go into discussion. In the song, it's sung that some of them want to use you, some of them want to be used by you, some of them want to abuse you, some of them want to be abused by you. And if you listen, they sound like simple lyrics, but they also talk about relationships. In the song, it says, I've traveled the 7 seas, everybody's looking for something, everyone's looking for someone. And then also in the song, it says, keep on moving. And it says, move on. At the end of those lyrics, it says, keep your head. I know people who've been in abusive relationships. I don't know why they actually go back to that abusive relationship. And Charlie and I were talking about the other day, a lot of times it has to do with the person's self-esteem and the relationship that they have, right? If you feel that love means, and some people feel this way, means being beat up by your significant other, then that's what you think of love and also what you think of God. If you think that a person is, that you need to be used and always being the victim, and you encourage that, then that's what your relationship is. So basically, we're talking about relationships. Why does a person who's abused go back to the abuser? Why
When
does a
they have
person-
somebody that's nice and treats them well,
Right.
for several years or a year or months, they turn around and go back to the person that abused them.
Right,
It's
and I
amazing.
even had a girlfriend once that I dated, and everything went fine with us. And I knew that the boyfriend she had was an abuser, right? And I loved her as much as I possibly could, and she wound up leaving me, great me, right? She wound up leaving me and going back to the abusive relationship, which I could never understand, and I could not pull her out of that. But when we talked, what I figured out from her was that that's what she felt love was, right? She felt love was hitting each other and going after each other, and then going into bed and having this wild make-up sex. And then everything would go fine for a little while, then the same thing would happen again. So we just want to open it up and talk honestly about abusive relationships.
I think it has to do with the person's self-esteem and what they think they deserve.
Yeah.
And I don't always think it's the way that they're raised or brought up necessarily. It could have something to do with it. But I think you're right. I don't think they really know what reality is, what a real relationship is. Some of these people have been in these relationships since they were little kids, early on, young and teenage years, and go on and get married and stay with these people for years, and they realize that this isn't what they want. They find somebody else, but they can never pull that tie away from for other purpose. I have no idea what it is, but I know someone as well that just kind of just keeps going back all the time, keeps going back, can't pull herself away from it. But it's kind of sad. It really is.
Well, we have people who look for love in all the wrong places, and
that's a song too, I believe.
yes, it is. I know it's nice too.
Yeah, I think that some of it is, and Brian could probably. No, he didn't smack a few women around.
Don't pass that along.
Was it consensual? Was it consensual?
I think the women smacked him around.
Did they consent to it?
Did they consent to it?
They smacked him around.
Oh, wow.
And he consented to it.
Well, is abuse always unhealthy?
Yeah. When is
Well,
it
of course
healthy?
it is.
That's why it's
Because-
called abuse.
I know, but somebody might that might be what they enjoy that in the relationship. Not if it's
This isn't 50 Shades of Grey here.
That's why it's called
Well, yeah, talk
dysfunctional.
about that.
That's why they
Yeah,
call it a
that's what I mean.
dysfunctional relationship.
That's not
But Charlie,
really.
that's what I mean.
That's why they
Charlie,
call it a dysfunctional relationship, because you believe that abnormality is normal. So as a man, I believe if I get upset, it's all right for me to smack my woman around, or as my woman gets upset, she feel like it's normal to throw something at me or whatever, and that's not normal.
No, it's
we
not.
should talk things out. We should sit down. We should communicate in an effective way. But I think that sometimes it's people just get in those
Don't you
abnormal
think the one
relationships.
person that's not like that is trying to change that person and eventually thinks, oh, because the times that are good, they seem really good, but then there's always something that sparks that person.
Right.
And then the other person feels like, oh, I got to stay with them. I got to help them get through this.
Yeah, and then what
And
did
they
they
get
call
caught-
it?
they
They
call
call
it
it
codependency.
codependency, where you feel
Yeah.
codependent.
Yeah.
And I know that relates to a lot of drug and alcohol abuse. You have a drug addict that's your significant other or mate, and you feel like you got to stay with them to try to help them through the situation.
But I think it's all drug related. A person can be addicted to a person, and I think that's one of the most hurtful relationships you could have, where you're addicted to a person, and where you cannot breathe or think of the person. The person's on your mind constantly, and God wants to have it where you think about Him. He's first love, and if you want to know what love is and a standard for love, the one that's helped me throughout my Christianity is 1 Corinthians 13. And it talks about how love is patient, love is kind, love is trustworthy. Love doesn't hard nose when you do it wrong. Love always forgives you. Love always upholds you, always thinks the best of you, speaks well behind your back. Love never fails. And that's a standard to me for a litmus test for the standard. And God has to bring you to that point, and has to bring the other person to that point. But never do you see God's love as abusive. Right. Never do you see God's love as using you. Right. And so you've got to come to that point, in your relationship with God. And hopefully God will bring that relationship to another person, and you could be
but that's counting the fact that God is even in the picture of that relationship.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
true.
of times in those kind of relationships, he's not
It's
even a
not
factor.
right.
He's
That's
not
not
even a
even
factor.
And a lot of times God's
Because
put,
the abuser is obviously not in love with the person.
Right.
They're controlling them by being abusive.
and the abuser's not in love with themselves either.
Well, that's true. And then the person that's being abused doesn't love themselves either and think
Right.
that's all that
It's
they're
all
worth.
right.
That's
It's
what
all-
I'm worth.
Right. It's all a toxic relationship.
It is very bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not in one, folks. But if you are, seek some help. I mean, there's a lot online. You can go and check things out.
Yeah.
From Pastor Mark Glenn, Kamal Dockett, Brian Ireland, myself, Charlie, I would like to thank you for joining us right here on News and Views. Until next time, we'll catch you right back here. God bless you.